Stop scrolling. I need to tell you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. The world doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your kindness. It doesn't even care about how smart you are. What it does care about, what it actually bows to, is money. Money is the armor, the weapon, the key. Without it, you're exposed. With it, you hold power. And if you don't believe this, just watch. Watch how fast people forget the poor, but worship the rich. Most people think about money in small, pathetic ways. Save a little here, spend a little less there. Maybe one day you'll retire comfortably. Machiavelli would laugh at this weakness. He understood something most people refuse to admit. If you don't pursue massive wealth, if you don't fight to pile up so much money that it shields you from everything, you will always be under someone else's control. Think about it. When a man with money walks into a room, people lean in. When a man without it enters, people look away. Money changes the air around you. It bends rules, softens enemies, draws allies. Even your mistakes are forgiven when you have money. But without it, even your smallest flaw gets magnified. Today, you're going to learn why money isn't just important, it's everything. And by the end of this video, you'll either accept this truth and start playing the real game, or you'll reject it and stay exactly where you are, powerless. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I choose wealth and power. Let's begin. The principle, money is power in its purest form. The common reaction to this truth is denial. People want to believe that character matters more, that love conquers all, that kindness brings rewards. And while those things may matter in small personal circles, in the game of life, it's money that decides who eats and who starves. That's why most people who ignore this truth end up trapped, working endless hours, begging for chances, living in quiet frustration. Here's the principle. Money is power in its purest form. It buys time. It buys freedom. It buys safety. Without it, you're chained to the will of others. With it, you can shape the world around you. Machiavelli knew that rulers who lacked wealth were always at the mercy of those who had it. Today, nothing has changed. You may not sit on a throne, but you're in a battlefield where the currency isn't swords, it's dollars. Psychologically, money rewires perception. When people know you have it, they treat you differently. Not because of who you are, but because of what they think you can do for them. Respect, admiration, even attraction, all of it amplifies when you're wealthy. The cruel part? Most people will never admit this. They'll say, I don't care about money. But watch how they chase the rich, follow their lifestyles, envy their lives. What happens when you don't play this game? You become invisible. The world passes you by. Opportunities shrink. You're treated as background, not as the main player. When you ask for something, it feels like begging. When you try to push back, no one listens. Without money, your voice is soft. With money, even your silence is loud. This is the consequence of ignoring Machiavelli's wisdom. Poverty, or even just enough money, makes you powerless. You may think you're safe with a job, a little house, a small bank account, but one bad month, one sudden bill, one crisis can crush you. That's why Machiavelli would say, you must acquire so much money at all costs, not a little. Not enough to get by, enough to build walls around yourself that no one can climb. Money is the only shield that actually works. Drop this in the comments. My wealth is my shield. The alternative. Shift from survival to dominance. Stop thinking small. So what's the alternative? It's to shift your thinking from survival to dominance. Stop asking, how do I make ends meet? Start asking, how do I build wealth that commands respect? Most people crawl through life afraid to take risks. afraid to demand more, afraid to offend anyone. But those who rise, the ones who acquire real wealth, play a different game. They understand that money must be chased, stacked, and guarded with relentless focus. This doesn't mean greed for greed's sake. It means power. Because with enough money, you choose when to work, who to work with, where to live, how to live. You buy back your life from the grip of society. And those who fail to see this, they spend their days selling their time cheap, always answering to someone else's call. In business, think about who wins contracts, who gets leverage, who dictates terms. It's not the desperate, it's the one who doesn't need the deal. And the only reason they don't need it? Because they already have money. In relationships, think about who sets the pace. It's the one who has options, and money multiplies options endlessly. Even in politics, leaders rise and fall not because of noble speeches, but because of financial backing. When you start to see money as the ultimate weapon, your decisions change. You stop wasting time. You stop chasing temporary pleasures that drain your pockets. You start thinking less. The poor spend their money as fast as they earn it. The rich make their money multiply. That's the only difference. But here's the trick Machiavelli would whisper. Don't just aim to make a living. Aim to build a fortress. A fortress so strong that no storm can touch you. People will call you ruthless, obsessed, maybe even cold. But when trouble comes, when the world collapses, they'll look at you with envy, because you'll be the one standing tall while they scramble for scraps. Don't make a living, build a fortress. Drop this in the comments. I build fortresses, not safety nets. The transformation, when money flips the power dynamic. Here's what happens when you acquire real wealth. Suddenly, people chase you. They want your approval, your partnership, your time. The same world that ignored you before now bows its head. That's the transformation money brings. It flips the power dynamic. When you have nothing, you're at the mercy of everyone. When you have everything, they're at the mercy of you. The real masters go even further. They don't just collect money, they weaponize it. They use it to buy influence, to silence enemies, to create loyalty. Sometimes they even hide their true wealth, letting others underestimate them while they quietly build empires. The advanced move isn't just to make money, but to make it invisible until the right moment, when revealing it crushes all opposition. And the end game? Freedom. Not the kind of freedom people pretend to have when they're stuck working 40 years for a pension. Real freedom. The ability to say no, to walk away, to live without fear. That's what money buys. That's why Machiavelli would tell you, acquire so much of it that no one can ever chain you again. Every excuse you make, every delay, every moment you say it's not about the money, those are chains tightening around your neck. Break them. Pursue money like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Freedom isn't free, it's bought. Drop this in the comments. I choose freedom through wealth. Why humans bow to abundance. Here's the psychology. Humans respect abundance. We bow to whoever has more. Even children understand this. The kid with the biggest toy gets attention. The man with the fastest car turns heads. The woman with the most expensive dress commands the room. This isn't about showing off. It's about how the human brain works. We're wired to follow strength, and money is the modern symbol of strength. Think about the consequences of not chasing massive wealth. Every bill becomes stress. Every price increase is a punch in the stomach. You live in fear. Fear of losing your job. Fear of getting sick. Fear of something breaking. Fear controls you. But money kills fear. With enough of it, the things that terrify most people are nothing but small annoyances to you. A broken car? Replace it. A medical bill? Paid. A lost job? Who cares? You don't need it. That's why the alternative is clear. Chase so much money that problems feel like dust. Because when problems shrink, your mind opens. You think bigger. You dream bolder. You stop living in defense and start living on offense. The poor think about income. The rich think about assets. Income is the money you trade your time for. Assets are the money that keeps working even when you sleep. That's the first shift. You can't just earn. You must build. Problems shrink when your wealth grows. Drop this in the comments. I think in assets, not income. The tactics. How the rich deploy money like an army. Imagine two men. One works 12 hours a day, proud of his grind. He earns just enough, maybe a little extra, but his body breaks, his time disappears, and if he stops working, everything starts. The second man spends his time building systems, businesses, investments, skills that scale. At first, he looks lazy compared to the grinder, but 5 years later, he's free. His money works harder than he ever could. That's the Machiavellian approach. Another tactic, learn to love leverage. $1 wisely used can bring back 10. One relationship wisely built can bring back a lifetime of doors opening. The poor hoard money like it's precious gold. The rich deploy money like it's an army. Every dollar has a job to bring back more dollars. And here's where most people fail. They're afraid of risk. They'd rather stay safe and small. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say safety is an illusion. You think you're safe because you play small? You're not. You're one layoff away from collapse, one illness away from ruin. Playing small is the biggest risk of all. The advanced move is this. Don't just chase money. Chase control of money. Learn how it flows, who controls it, and how you can put yourself in that position. The banker doesn't work harder than you. The landlord doesn't sweat more than you. But they control money flows, so money never stops flowing to them. Watch the impact of this mindset shift. Suddenly, when you sit at a table, you're not desperate for a deal. You are the deal. People adjust their tone, their offers, their respect, because they know you don't need them. And nothing is more powerful than not needing anyone. Deploy money like an army, not a savings account. Drop this in the comments. I control the flow. The resistance. Why society wants you poor. At this point, you may feel resistance. You may think, but isn't chasing money at all costs greedy? Isn't it selfish? That's the lie society tells you to keep you weak. Notice who says it. Usually those who want you poor, obedient, and quiet. They tell you money is evil, so you stop chasing it, while they quietly collect it themselves. The truth is, money reveals character. If you're generous, money makes you more generous. If you're cruel, money makes you more cruel. Money isn't evil, it's a magnifier. Machiavelli would remind you, power always has enemies, and money is no different. If you dare to climb, some will hate you, but their hate doesn't matter when you're untouchable. Their opinions don't pay your bills. Their gossip doesn't feed your family. And here's the bitter reality. If you stay poor to please them, they still won't respect you. So why play their game? The world rewards power, not permission. Drop this in the comments. I ignore the noise. The vision, what freedom actually looks like. Now imagine the freedom you gain once you've acquired massive wealth. You wake up and decide how to spend your day. You choose who to work with. You choose where to live, what to eat, what to drive. You don't beg for vacation days, you take them. You don't panic about bills, you ignore them. That's not luxury. That's survival on your own terms. The poor often dream about vacations, fancy things, showing off. But that's not the real prize. The real prize is freedom. The ability to say no without fear. The ability to walk away without regret. That's why you must chase money at all costs. Not for shiny toys, but for unshakable freedom. And when you reach this point, something shifts. People begin to orbit around you. They want your time, your opinion, your approval. Not because you better, but because your wealth made you magnetic. You say you want, and we want you. Yes. That's the cruel irony. When you needed help, no one was there. When you didn't need it, everyone appears. This is the Machiavellian truth of money. The world doesn't reward the needy. It rewards the already powerful. That's why you can't settle for scraps. You must acquire so much money that you move from needing to commanding. That shift changes everything. Freedom is bought, not given. Drop this in the comments. I command, I don't beg. The weapon, how to weaponize wealth. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about how to weaponize money, not just collect it. Because wealth, sitting idle, is wasted power. Money is more than comfort, more than security. When used with precision, it becomes a weapon sharper than any sword. A weapon you can use to silence enemies, buy allies, and bend the world toward your will. This is where most people stop. They think money is just for survival. But the Machiavellian mind sees money as a tool to shape destiny. Think about it. Why do kings build treasuries? Why do nations guard their gold reserves? Because money doesn't just feed people, it controls them. When you hold the purse strings, you hold the strings of power itself. Machiavelli would whisper, "Don't just earn money, use it to control the game." First, influence. Money buys attention. With enough of it, your words carry weight before you even speak. You can fund projects, sponsor ideas, back candidates, buy platforms. Suddenly, your opinion isn't just another voice. It's amplified by the resources behind it. Second, loyalty. People are loyal to those who feed them, not those who inspire them. A hungry man listens to a full man only if that full man shares his bread. With wealth, you can secure loyalty that speeches alone could never win. Third, silence. Money has the power to close mouths. An enemy screaming at you can be reduced to a whisper if you pay the right people at the right time. Gold often achieves what swords cannot. When people know you have wealth, they adjust themselves around you. They hesitate to insult you because they know you can retaliate. They hesitate to cross you because they know you have resources. Money creates an aura of danger, even without you lifting a finger. That's why many rulers don't need to scream or fight. Their wealth speaks for them. Money is the weapon that doesn't need to be drawn. Drop this in the comments. My wealth speaks for me. The fortress. Build walls no one can climb. Here's the advanced move. Sometimes the most powerful thing is not showing how much money you have. Hidden wealth is a secret weapon. When others underestimate you, thinking you're weaker than you are, you can strike at the perfect moment. It's like playing chess with pieces your opponent can't see. That surprise, when you reveal your strength, crushes their spirit completely. But there's another level. Money as a shield. Power attracts enemies. Jealousy, envy, hatred, they'll all follow you once you climb. But money lets you defend yourself. Lawyers, security, influence, allies, all of them can be bought. Without money, enemies crush you easily. With it, Every attack bounces off your walls. That's why Machiavelli would insist, build wealth, not just to attack, but to protect. The end game? Immortality. Because with enough money, your name outlives you. Buildings carry your name. Institutions bear your mark. Generations live in houses you built. That's why Machiavelli's lesson isn't just about living rich, it's about dying powerful. With enough money, your influence doesn't end when your heartbeat does. It continues like an echo through time. Build a fortress that lasts beyond you. Drop this in the comments. I build for eternity. Here's what you need to understand. Money is not optional. It's not a side quest. It's the main battlefield of life. Every day, someone is fighting for more of it. And if you don't fight harder, they will own you. This isn't about greed. It's about survival. And if you want to rise, if you want freedom, respect, and lasting power, you must treat money like air. Without enough, you suffocate. Look at how society itself bends to money. Laws are written, bent, and ignored for the wealthy. Justice moves slower or faster depending on the size of your wallet. Opportunities appear magically for those who can pay. The world isn't fair, it's purchased. And if you don't have the means to buy your share, you'll always be living under someone else's rules. Machiavelli's lesson is harsh, but it's liberating. Once you accept that money is the throne upon which power sits, you stop wasting time on illusions. You stop believing that hard work alone will save you. You stop thinking that being good, kind, or talented is enough. Those things may matter, but without money, they're whispers in a storm. With money, they become shouts that echo. So, what's the call to action? Simple. Stop chasing survival. Start building empires. Look at your time as your greatest resource and stop selling it cheap. Every hour you trade for pennies is an hour stolen from your future. Start building systems that multiply. Start investing in skills that scale. Start surrounding yourself with people who think bigger, who push you to expand, not shrink. You must adopt the mindset of inevitability. I will acquire so much money at all costs. Not maybe, not someday, not if it's convenient. You must burn that goal into your mind until it becomes as natural as breathing. Because when you die, money itself won't follow you. But what you built with it, what you carved into history with it, will. The consequence of ignoring this lesson is slavery. Slavery to jobs you hate. Slavery to people who control your paycheck. Slavery to circumstances that crush you. You may call it playing it safe, but in reality, it's surrender. And no one remembers the surrendered. They remember the conquerors. The alternative is hard. Yes, it demands sacrifice. It demands saying no to comfort now, so you can build power later. It demands courage to risk, to fail, to rise again. But the reward is everything. Because once you reach that fortress of wealth, life bends differently. You speak and people listen. You walk and people move aside. You decide, and the world adjusts. That is not fantasy. That is the real effect of wealth. Picture this clearly. You wake up in a house you own outright. No debt, no fear. Your accounts overflow. Your investments feed you while you sleep. When someone calls, you decide whether to answer. When someone offers you a deal, you decide the terms. Your children look at you, not with fear of the future, but with confidence, because you built the walls. You built the fortress. You gave them a kingdom to stand on. That image, that life, is not reserved for the chosen few. It's reserved for the relentless few. The ones who decide, like Machiavelli would, that money must be acquired at all costs. Not through luck, not through waiting, but through discipline, strategy, and an unbreakable will. So let this be burned into your mind. Money is not about greed. It's about power. Power to say no, power to protect, power to live freely. And without it, you're at the mercy of those who have it. Don't let that be your story. Don't be the one who looks back at life and realizes you played small, that you settled, that you surrendered. Be the one who conquered. Be the one who built. Be the one who is untouchable. Because you armed yourself with wealth so great, no one could cage you. Because in the end, respect isn't given. Freedom isn't handed out. Power isn't granted. They are bought. Bought with the only currency this world truly respects: money. Acquire it, guard it, multiply it, at all costs. If this video opened your eyes to the real game, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to stop playing small. Subscribe because we're just getting started with this level of truth. And drop this final affirmation in the comments. I will acquire wealth at all costs. The world belongs to those who understand that money is power. Now go out there and take what's yours.